Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be going through a demonstration of my application UniWallet Pro. This is a budgeting tool that's made for students, but can also be used by pretty much anyone that wants it to be. I've catered most of the needs towards students after going through requirements and online surveys, etc. So, for example, as you can see here, we have our main tool, which has is built with containers such as um, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is built using containers. As you can see, we have our main title here, which is UniWallet Pro, and the subtitle, which is Budgeting Tool for Students with Smart Insights. You can see here where we have the data saved, which means this was the last when data was saved. So I actually did do an export, which we'll get into in a bit. You also have the option to export and import data. So you can export the current data, and then you can import your original data, and we'll get into that in a second. So as you can see, we've got the set your budget widget here, the add expense, spending at analytics, total budget, total expenses remaining, budget, and categories used. If we scroll down, you can see we have the filter and search expenses, and we have the expense history here. So we've already set our budget of £1,000 for this month. You can actually change it. So if you want it to be weekly or daily, you're able to change it based on what you want. And we have here the expense description. So for example, let's say this month I need to pay my rent, and my rent is £800, and we have to put the category, which is bills and utilities. As you can see, once you add it to the expense list, it says expense added successfully. It gives you the command that is correct. It's been added completely fine. There's no issues. We have the pie chart, which shows us our current analytics of how much we've spent and how we've spent the amounts we've spent, if that makes sense. So as you can see right now, it's completely just bills and utilities. We have our smart insights, which shows the budget warning. So as you can see, because I've used a majority of my budget of £1,000, it has actually given me an amber widget to show that we're getting quite close to our complete budget. We have our top spending category, and we have our average expense category. I've made it so the emojis actually give it like a bit of a personal touch. This is catered towards students, and I feel like with students we like to see a lot of visual things, like visual gratification, if that makes sense. So I actually did see an idea, I think when I was on TikTok scrolling, of someone saying that they like when they see things that captivate them. And a lot of social media apps nowadays, they actually implement the usage of emojis. So for example, like Snapchat, it's actually built into the app, so a lot of the emojis are inside the app. For example, if you're scrolling in a chat, you can see it. So I've done it so it kind of works here as well. You can see that because it's catered towards students, the emojis kind of make it a little more interactive and a bit more interesting to use, if that makes sense. So as you can see, I've made it for the categories as well. So going back to the original point, as you can see, we've got the smart insights that show everything you need here, and you've got expense history here as well. So I'm able to edit my original expense. I can change it to, let's say that's not rent, let's say that's car insurance. You can update it, and as you can see, it updates here. Or let's say I want to change it completely. I go back to edit here, and I can actually change this completely. So I can now say I went out for Nando's, and I spent about, let's say 32.49 in Nando's. I can change it to food and dining, update expense, and as you can see, it updates the expense completely fine. So you now can see that I'm doing quite well with my budget, and I've made it so it actually adjusts based on how much you input. So because I've inputted quite a low amount, the emoji has changed, and essentially it's made it better, essentially, so it shows that I'm in the green. Let's say now, I don't know, for example, for some reason I start going shopping a lot, so I went to Ralph Lauren and I spent about £400 on clothes. You can see here we're still not over the half budget, so we're still doing relatively well. I've made it so it actually measures based on how much you spent. If you spend over half, you start getting to the amber, and if you get, I think, just very, very close to the original budget, which is about 80 to 90%, it actually tells you that you're getting too close to your budget. So you can see we've got categories used here as well. I've used 2 categories so far. Let's say now, for example, I went to the cinema with my friends. We spent about £11, and I press entertainment. You can see that all the categories show here, And I've also got the daily trend bar, which shows that I've spent quite a lot of money on this specific day, which is perfect. So I'm able to keep track very easily. As you can see, I've got my pie chart that shows where my money is going to. Now let's say, for example, I went over budget. So I had my phone bill, which is about £60. We'll be actually exact, 58.29, because we want to make sure we're doing this properly. And let's say that's another bill, and we add that here. You can see bills and utilities is updated perfectly. Let's say now, I don't know, I got a bit carried away and I bought a designer jacket. I bought a Moncler jacket. I spent £1,200 on that, and I bought it as shopping. As you can see now, when you're over budget, it goes perfectly and shows that it's over budget. So it turns into a negative balance. It turns red. You get the indication here that it's red, and you get the indication here that it's red, and it tells you get an alert saying you're over your budget. It has a little siren emoji as well, so it makes it kind of cool, like you can see, oh, it's an emergency, we need to go below budget. Those are the main features. As you can see, I've got the categories here, and you're able to filter out your expenses and features, your expenses and spending. So I can see for transport I've got nothing yet. For food and dining I've got Nando's. For bills and utilities I've got my phone bill, and for entertainment I've got the cinema. And you're able to do the time range and the amount range. So for example, the cinema is not £0 to £10, but it's £10 to £50, and it shows up here. So it's very interactive, very intuitive. I think students would be very grateful for something like this. I personally would use it. I actually don't have any budgeting apps that I use at the moment. The only one I used to use was a bit too intrusive, because you have to link all your bank details, and it's a bit, sometimes you don't trust that. So this is very simple, very easy to use, and it's very quick to use as well. This doesn't take a lot of time to do. I think in the future, if I wanted to further implement something, I would add like a thing where you can do multiple expenses at once. But the reason why I didn't want to do that now is because I want it to be as precise as possible. I want you to be able to give the customization to what you can do, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is currently the app. And then if I clear everything, so if I go back to all categories and I clear everything, we can go back to scratch, back to £1,000. You get the alert here as well. You can also import certain things. So for example, I've got earlier models, so we'll go back to this one, and you're able to import your data. So this is from if I can check correctly, this is from Wednesday as well. We can go from another one, which was, I believe this was Monday or Tuesday. This was Monday, yes. So as you can see, this is from when I tried it on Monday. I'm able to see all my interactions and all my expenses. So you're able to import and export data. I think it's very intuitive in that way as well. I think it's very easy to use. So we've covered most of the points here. So we've got the budget setup, the expense management, which is add, delete, edit, etc. We've got real-time calculations and warnings. So as I said, you can see that you've got the budget alert, so it tells you in real time that you've gone over your budget, and as well as the main indicator, which is your negative balance, which turns red when you've gone over budget. We've got responsive design across devices. I actually have made it so this works on the phone. So if you actually follow this exact link on your phone, it will show as well, which is quite nice. And you've got the errors. So of course you cannot, if I clear this, you cannot enter anything. It will tell you, please enter both expense and description. For both, you have to show an amount. So as you can see, I put for this alert that disappears eventually, times out. Please enter a valid budget. Please enter a valid budget amount greater than 0. And here we have the same thing. Please put expense, description, and total amount. So you're able to basically know that you can't input something without actually inputting the correct thing. I've also made it so you can't input a string in where you input integer, because as you can see, it tells you need to put an integer, not string. Same thing here, you have to put a string, not integer, and same thing here, it has to be an integer, not string. So I've made it so you can't just put any willy-nilly rubbish. It has to be what it is, so that the tool will work perfectly well, and so that no errors actually proceed. So for example, if I was able to put something that I wasn't meant to put here, it could mess up the whole tool. It would just not really work properly, and it would be inaccurate. So I've made it so it has to be what you input. And yeah, that is the main budgeting tool. I hope this was a helpful video. I've also linked the rest of the features that are included in the report, and I'll be posting this video onto YouTube. So I hope this is helpful. Thank you very much.